I do think the winner of this game will go on to win the NFC. I think Philadelphia. I mean, actually, scratch that. What's going on? Welcome back, everybody. Wild Card Weekend is behind us. On to the divisional round. Kansas City is hosting Jacksonville, and they opened up as 8.5-point favorites. What are your thoughts on this game?
Man, I expect a beatdown. Man, you got a rested Kansas City Chiefs team, and then you have a good Jacksonville team. But I think they've kind of reached their peak as far as what we've seen from them. I just think Mahomes at this point, he's playing at a high level. You think about the first matchup they had, he threw for about I think it was 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, Jacksonville has been playing some good ball as of late. But I definitely expect Kansas City to roll in this one. What you think?
I think Jacksonville will be able to move the ball on Kansas City. You can pass the ball on them, probably run the ball a little, but Chris Jones is playing out of his mind this year. I don't know how I feel on the spread with this one. Like, I think that's probably about right where it should be. But Jacksonville, man, they got to finish drives with points if they're going to keep up with Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect they come down from 27-0 deficits every week, man.
Right.
But shout out to them, man. They was able to fight back. It's a tough fought team. The Chargers had them on the ropes, and they put out all stops to come back and win that game, man. Trevor Lawrence, he's playing good ball. I do think it's going to be a lot of points in this game. I don't expect a low scoring game, but I just think at some point, whenever the Chiefs get their stops. It is an opportunistic defense. They tend to play good ball in the playoffs, but I just think once they get 1 or 2 stops, Kansas City is able to string together a couple of drives. I just think this one could get out of hand. So you talk about the 8.5 spread. I definitely like Kansas City to just cover that as well.
Okay. Switching over to the late game Saturday night, the Eagles opened up as 7.5-point favorites, hosting the Giants. Divisional rematch. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I think we have the makers of a potential upset again. I know we talked about last week. We was all over the Giants beating the Vikings, right? Good game. I just think it's a team that's just well coached. They getting hot at the right time, and we think about Jalen Hurts. He's coming off of that shoulder. The last week of the season, it really wasn't a great game from him. You know what I mean? Davis Webb, he kept him close. You know what I mean? In the finale there in the regular season. I just wouldn't be surprised if the Giants was able to pull this one out too, man. Saquon, the first time around, he had a great game. I think they stick to a similar game script. You see Isaiah Hodgins, they got some weapons that's showing up at the right time. I'm not sleeping on the Eagles, however. They might just come in there and put his imprint on it, but I do expect a close game. You see Eagles, they're sitting here at minus 7.5 to cover this spread. I think the Giants will.
I do think New York can cover. Danny Dimes seems to have found his stride in this offense. It looks like Brian Daboll is getting the complete most out of
Absolutely.
him, and he looks well improved this year. Saquon's healthy. They've got stars at right and left tackle, and with Dexter Lawrence back and healthy, the last couple weeks that defense has taken a turn because they're able to pressure the
Yeah.
quarterback. I think too the emergence of Isaiah Hodgins. I guess he was stolen off of Buffalo's practice squad, which Daboll I guess was around him last year, so he knew that guy.
That makes sense.
And of course Darius Slate, man, he's a really good deep threat, a good playmaker. Defensively, they do have Jalen Smith, that stinks, but besides that, man, no. Divisional games are always tight, and I think that this will
It
be a
should be a
good
good
one.
matchup. I think so, man. Like I said, we're gonna have to see how that the Jalen Hurts shoulder fares out, man. We've been hearing mixed reviews. Nick Sirianni, he came out. He said it looks a lot better than the past couple of weeks, but I mean, obviously, it's not 100%. So, with the
Right.
Giants and the type of defense they play, I wouldn't be surprised for them to make this a tough matchup, man, going on the road.
To start things off Sunday, we have Buffalo, who opened up as 4.5-point favorites, hosting the Bengals. I like Buffalo minus 4.5 in this game. I don't think it's a blowout, but I also don't think it'll be like a field goal game. I could see them winning by like 7 or 10.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think Buffalo. they haven't played their best ball. I will say that Josh Allen,
Right.
he hasn't looked the best. But they continuously find ways to win. They nobody expect Miami to stick in that game. I mean, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
And Cincy on the other hand, they did beat the Ravens, whatever, but that game was a lot closer. You know what I mean? And if they don't get that fumble return for a touchdown, we could be seeing a completely different tune. Here today, but. We spoke previously about the left tackle being out. You know what I mean, and then I see Alex Kappa. He's also on injury report. The offensive line for the Bengals is already beat up enough as it is, and I think going into this game right
Mm-hmm.
now, which has the potential to be a shootout, you don't want to have a makeshift offensive line in this type of game, which just kind of leads me over to the Buffalo side, man. I think they pull this one out.
I agree. I know you mentioned the offensive line for Cincinnati. Man, Baltimore was beating the shit out of
Yeah,
Burrow the other night. Poor guy doesn't stand a chance in the pocket, but Buffalo's pass rush hasn't been that elite since losing Von Miller. I'm not sure what other injuries they're dealing with in that front seven, but Burrow should be able to move the ball, but I just think a couple key sacks could kill momentum for Cincinnati, and Buffalo will get those sacks.
yeah.
Either way, I mean, fantasy wise, fire up Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Yeah,
You know how to
I think
roll.
this is a game. I mean, not Jamal Chase, but obviously he'll have to have a big game. But I think Burrow will actually have to drop back and pass it a ton, man. You know what I mean, and take his
Right.
shots. Go ahead and go for it all this week.
I agree. Lastly, on the slate, we have San Francisco sitting at 3.5 point favorites hosting your Dallas Cowboys, our Dallas Cowboys. But talk to me.
Man, listen, man. Tough matchup. I do think this one is going to be close. You know what I mean? I see the spread
Mm-hmm.
is sitting at -3.5 for the 49ers right now. But we have the makings of a potential revenge game. We all know that San Fran they showed up to Dallas last year with the boom boxes and they came in there and they played a great game. I just have to believe, man. I think for some reason I feel like Dallas is all just kind of working out in their favor at the right time, man. You had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the schedule the first time. You got to slay the goat. You know what I mean? We seen he's the one that just kind of just started that season off on the wrong foot. The Dak injury, we come back, we're able to right that wrong, right? Then you have a chance in a revenge game against the Niners. And then if we was to make it past here, not to look too far ahead, man, we have a potential familiar NFC East foe in the making. So give me Dallas in this one. I just think Brock Purdy he's played great as of now, but I think Dan Quinn will be able to give him a lot of looks. I think not only that, but Kellen Moore seems like he's getting to his bag at the right time, man. And I just don't feel like San Fran has faced a quarterback like Dak or this offense in the midst of this, I think it's a 10 or 11 game winning streak they have. So I think this is a big test for both teams. But I'm leaning Dallas as well.
Uh, I think the 3.5 spread that makes sense. I probably won't touch the spread in this one, but I do think the winner of this game will go on to win the NFC. I think Philadelphia. I mean, actually, scratch that. We don't know what's up with Jalen Hurts for real. Like they said he's better, but is he for real? Like we don't
I
know.
don't think so, man.
So the Giants, though, man, they got all the momentum going into this. So where it stands now, we have 4 teams remaining in the AFC and the NFC. What's your Super Bowl matchup prediction?
Uh, you know, I like what you said. Honestly, right? I think the winner of this does come out of this the matchup to go ahead and move on to the Super Bowl, man. My preseason pick was the 49ers. And of course,
It
we've
was.
met the crossroads here and now I'm leaning Dallas. I'm gonna have to say Dallas and Kansas City. And if I was to have to kind of predict that matchup, I think I'm leaning Kansas City. I just think I don't know too many teams that, will be able to knock them out. I just think hottest team in the league to me. And we've seen what they did to the 49ers earlier this season. So I mean, even if 49ers was to make it there, I mean, I just think that's kind of the way I'm leaning right now. What you think?
I think so. I believe they rescheduled the Bills Chiefs if they meet up next week indoors. I forgot
I think they're
where.
talking that now. Yep.
Atlanta.
Hmm.
And I think that favors Josh Allen big time to play
Okay.
indoors. Um, so I'd have to roll with Buffalo winning the AFC. I mean, that's assuming Cincinnati don't shake things up. But then on the NFC side, Hear me out. Buffalo went to 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s and lost 2 to the Cowboys. This could be their revenge tour. Put a stamp on that. But I think it really stinks for the Bills and the Chiefs because anything less of the AFC Championship is almost a failed season at this point with how high powered
I
those
would
two
love to
are.
see that matchup. You know what I mean? You have a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have another team in Dallas who hasn't won a Super Bowl in ever. Both teams would be due for one and very deserving of it if it was to happen. So I think that'd be a great matchup if it was to happen. But let's cross our fingers, man. We had a great week of football, man. We had the Jaguars able to pull out a crazy win. A lot of close games, man. There wasn't too many blowouts outside of, obviously the San Fran victory over Seattle. And then Dallas be able to, prove a lot of people wrong out there and beating up Tampa Bay, man, and possibly return to Tom Brady. We'll have to see how that works out. But, man, great week of football, man. We got some more great matchups, man. On to the next one, man. Tough test on the road, man. We'll see.